It's
crazy you're drinking that and you have to work tomorrow.
Oh, dude, I'm a caffeine freak. I'll be all right. I'll be asleep by 9:30 tonight. It'll be okay. I used to go to the gym late. I used to go 9 o'clock, bro. When I worked at FedEx, I would slam pre-workout at 9 o'clock at night. Go to the gym, come back home, eat, shower, go to sleep.
That doesn't even make sense.
I don't know.
Let me turn this to your face.
Got a high tolerance, you know what I'm saying? But
so to start, I really want to start at the beginning because the whole idea is I want to share your journey through the Faith Farm.
okay.
But in order to do that effectively, I think we should kind of paint a picture of where you were first. So where did it start? Where'd your journey start?
Probably, really the first time I ever did anything like that, I was in 9th grade. That's when I started smoking weed. But I really wasn't like a pothead then. I just had smoked and dabbled, you know what I mean? My summer going to... No, I started smoking weed in the summer going to 9th grade. And the summer going to 10th grade was the first time I was introduced to cocaine. And I wasn't smoking weed all the time. That was the only time I'd ever done cocaine at that point, you know what I'm saying? But I think around 11th grade is when I really started partying, experimenting with all kinds of drugs. So weed, little ecstasy, Xanax bars were big when I was in school then. And that was kind of it really till after I graduated. After I graduated is when I started doing opiates, and that's when things got real. I started out with Roxy's. You know what Roxy's are? They were pretty big around here. I knew a ton of people in high school were doing them. I'd never done them because I was always like, "That's crazy! You guys are getting addicted. What are you doing?" You know what I'm saying? But I was doing everything else. It really made no sense.
What is it?
It's a.
Is it like Oxy?
Yeah, it's 30 milligrams. It's but they were originally made for cancer patients. It's a pain med is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a little tiny blue pill. We used to call them blues, you know what I'm saying? They were expensive too, man. They were $30 a pop.
Good
Yeah,
Lord.
and then eventually it went up to, I was paying $40. I'd pay $50 if I had to, you know what I'm saying?
How? How didn't you afford? Because I imagine you didn't just do one.
When I started out, I would do one every now and then, you know what I'm saying? But I knew the first time I did them, it was different from any other drug I've ever done. I knew I was I like this feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Opiates in general?
Yeah.
What's different about them?
So I guess you could say I'm a downer guy. So cocaine and stuff like that. And ecstasy, they're uppers. They're party drugs really. So if you're out heavily drinking at the bars or at parties or something, you might pop ecstasy or do some cocaine, man. It keeps you up. It keeps you going. You know what I'm saying? You're not sloppy drunk where you're here to party. But opiates, on the other hand, it's a slow ride, man. You're just chilling. We call it getting faded. We were trying to catch a nod. So that's the pills that are the drugs that make you nod out, be like a zombie pretty much. That's the feeling that I was chasing. Crazy enough, the first time I ever did them, man, I got sick. It made me throw up. I was sick. But eventually, my tolerance was okay, so I just kept doing them. So I started doing Roxy in 2015. And for a while, like I said, it was every now and then it was daily, and then it was, I knew a bunch of drug dealers. So I was like, hey, let me get some till I get paid. And then eventually when I got paid, I'd already be out of money. I had to just start it over again. I used to sell weed and I would sell pills so that I could afford my habits.
Why do you think, I didn't really plan on asking this, but made me think about, you're saying that opiates and everything are downers. What do you think, because there's a huge opioid epidemic right now.
Right.
And there's a million reasons why. But what do you think lends people to want to end up chasing those over alcohol or whatever?
I think it's a preference thing, man. I know people that just can't drink. You know what I'm saying? And I know people that, you know, when they do cocaine, they go for days. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a preference thing. I think I prefer to be down.
Do you think what? But I mean, like, you've got millions of people addicted to them right now.
Well, a lot of people. What happens to the body with a lot of these people? They get prescribed them at some point, right? What happens to the body when you're taking these pills is your body becomes dependent on it. That's what I was doing to myself, even though I was doing it recreationally. You ever heard the term being dope sick? Mm-hmm. So, like, one day I woke up and I just didn't feel right. Wasn't necessarily sick, none of that. I just didn't feel right. And then I noticed when I got high, I felt like Superman. You know, and eventually that built up to where I couldn't sleep. My legs were hurt. I could be in the middle of the sun at 100-degree weather, wearing a hoodie, sweating, but I'm cold. You know,
really?
Cold chills, yeah. You don't want to eat. You feel sick until you got it. So I think a lot of people end up doing that unintentionally because they just had a surgery or their doctor gave it to them and their body just needs it because the doctor refilled their prescription 6 times. You know what I mean?
I bet people do it unintentionally, but recreationally too, kind of like you did, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I'll try
I'm
one.
sure that happens.
I'll try one,"
yeah.
And then it's like, "Well, that was pretty good. I'll try it again." And then before they know it, they're just stuck.
I used to find people with prescriptions of them, and they'd be wanting to get rid of them because I take it and it makes me sick. Only the way it makes me feel. They were getting high. I just didn't know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's like I said, I'm just one of the guys that liked it. I like the feeling. So that's where that went.
Where did you end up? Like, you started 9th grade just with weed, and then by the time you're graduating, you're trying to find just more pills, or where did you end up before you realized that something had to change?
Oh, I knew for a long time that something needed to change. Like I knew when I was smoking weed in 9th grade, this wasn't a good thing. You know what I mean? But anybody you talk to about an addiction and all that, they always tell you, like, I had to find my rock bottom. You know what I mean? And unfortunately for me, it took over 3 years to get there. Then it was a slow but steady spiral. You know what I mean? Like I said before already, like, it went from, you know, buying a few a day to eventually I was getting them given to me, then paying them back. And then by the time I paid them back, I ain't had no money. So I'll be honest with you, bro, I was a thief. That's what I did. That was my thing. A lot of people have their own things, how they get money. I was taking it.
Really?
Yeah. Money. I would take stuff from your house, go pawn it. You know what I'm saying?
From people you're close with?
Yeah. A lot of addicts, we're like master manipulators, bro. I know you see me at work, right? Like, I'm good at talking to people. You know what I'm saying? I was good at talking to people then. I could probably get a stranger to give me $100 in 5 minutes if I needed to. You know what I mean? It sounds kind of bad, but you figure it out as you go. It's like, I'm going to get this money somehow.
You didn't have a choice. Your body craved it.
Right. Well, I hate the you didn't have a choice thing, because we did. But it's crazy, though. If I could explain it the best way is, I didn't care while I was doing it, right?
Yeah.
But once I stole something or got money for something, lied to somebody for something, you go, you know, you get your pills and you get high. And after, when you're coming down, man, you just feel like I felt remorse every single time. It was terrible. And a lot of addicts are depressed too. It's like I was depressed. Like, it's not a good feeling, you know what I mean? Like, I just lied to my grandma and told her some crazy story and she said she'd give me $100. And all I did was go get high, and now I don't have any money, need gas. I just asked her for money, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna think something's up, but it was it's exhausting, dude. I would wake up in the morning, the only thing on my mind would be, how am I gonna get high today? What am I gonna do? Can I find something to take? Can I get money for somebody? Something. It's a never-ending cycle, dude.
Yeah.
It sucked. It sucked. But eventually it catches up to you at some point. After, as soon as I graduated, I went to go live with my grandma because my mom, she bounced like just like that. You know what I'm saying? I was an 18-year-old kid. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was working, running food here at Harvest Moon, bro. You know, bar backing. That's all I was doing. I couldn't afford to live by myself. So my grandma was literally my favorite person on the planet, bro. But she took me in then, and I don't know. I was angry too. I was an angry person. My mom left. It sucked. It really kind of messed me up. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't care about anything. I would just go to work and I would party. That's it.
Did that feed the addiction, you think?
I think it was part of it. Yeah, a lot of all we're trying to do is fill the void, man. You know, we're empty somewhere. Something. And I didn't realize this till I went through the program we're going to talk about, but something happened to us at some point, you know, and it kind of messed us up. So we're trying to fill that void. We're just filling it with the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like when you're high, you're just trying to escape reality. That's it. You don't have to. When I would get high, man, nothing mattered at that moment except that I was high.
Yeah.
That's it. And I felt good. Like it'd be a lie to say like, oh, I didn't like it. I liked it. You know what I'm saying? We all did.
If you didn't like it, you wouldn't do it.
Right.
I hate just hate your sin. Like, no, everyone likes their sin. That's
Right.
that's why they do it. Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, eventually, you know, I was running out of money, and then, like I said, I was a thief. So eventually, stuff like that catches up to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went to jail. I think it was October of 17. I went to jail then. My dad came pick me up when I got
For
out.
stealing?
No, it was something else to do with the house. Kind of, yeah. That's a whole nother story. I called charge anyway, went to jail. So my dad ended up, so I sat there and had to go to court and all that. And eventually my dad came and got me. I didn't know who it was. They just told me to roll up. And I was like, all right, cool, let's get out of here. And it was my dad, which is crazy because me and my dad were close in high school, but we just grew apart. Not really him, it was me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was a strict parent, you know what I mean? I wasn't going to be able to party if I was over there at his house. So
Your parents were separated?
yeah, they were divorced when I was a baby.
Really?
Yeah, I never seen them together.
You lived with your mom?
Yeah. We had like every other weekend at dad's type thing, you know what I mean? But no, man, I walked out the jail and he was there, and he wasn't aware at the time. He thought I had gotten in trouble for selling drugs because somebody had told him that's what I was doing, because I was doing that. I'd done that in high school. I went like a major drug dealer, you know what I'm saying? But I sold a bunch of weed and a bunch of pills. And then eventually I was selling a little cocaine. That all this stuff is just in stages. It just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he thought I got busted with something.
What did it feel like to walk out and see him, not realizing that that's who came to get you?
Excuse my language, but it was like, oh shit, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Like bad?
Not like I was surprised. That's really all. That's exactly what I thought. I'm so serious. Exactly what I thought. Because I think from the time I graduated up until this point, it's like 3 or 4 years later, I'd maybe seen him 5 times.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. I was out there. But now it's my best friend now, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're tight, we're cool, that's my boy. But yeah, he picks me up from jail, man, and he was like, okay, well, where are you going? I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll go back to Nana's, you know what I'm saying? Be pulled up in her driveway, and like all my stuff's on the front porch, like packed. And that was kind of heartbreaking, man. You know, like I said, we were addicts are depressed, bro, and it's for stuff like that. But it's my own fault, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and
what did that feel like, seeing your best friend put all your stuff outside?
It's a terrible feeling, man. It's a terrible feeling. But you know, my dad loved me, so like I said, he didn't know what was going on all the way. So he let me come stay with him, and him and my stepmom. So my dad remarried. I was like 7th grade. she was always cool. You know what I'm saying? I had no problem with her or nothing.
Yeah. You like her?
Yeah, yeah. But I knew there would be rules over there. You know what I mean? That was my thing. Like, I know there'd be rules, but like at this point, I didn't have a car, I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything, man. I had a job, but I was shucking oysters at AJ's. You know what I'm saying? For like $140 a week. You know what I'm saying? That's not a job. But I went to go live with them, and I actually got fired from AJ's.
Really?
Yeah, literally, like 2 weeks later, bro. And so I was pretty much jobless. I called my old boss at FedEx. I used to drive for FedEx before, but I called him, and he gave me a job back. So I started working at FedEx again, driving trucks, man. And it was during the Christmas season, so it was busy. And then Christmas season ended, and then I got fired again.
Because it wasn't busy?
Yeah, pretty much. Also, because I was doing crazy stuff out there, right? Like, I was so serious. Like, it's not funny, but I was doing crazy stuff out there. And, like, they can watch you and stuff, man. Like, I would go to Cordele and, like, turn off my scanner, the GPS, and come back to Albany and,
Really?
yeah, get pills and stuff, man. It was crazy, bro.
Is it true FedEx drivers just throw packages? Or is that just a few guys?
It's a few guys. It's not everybody. I actually ended up working at FedEx again when I came back, and I was
Really?
a great driver then, yeah.
When you came back?
Yeah, when I
from
came
rehab.
back, yeah. But I always worked, though. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't, I guess, you know, they say like a functioning alcoholic. I was a functioning opiate addict. You know what I mean?
You think that's common?
I don't know. Not a lot. A lot of them that I've seen all work like doing odd jobs and stuff where they can leave as they please and all that.
Yeah.
Get paid cash. You know what I'm saying? The boss man's rich, so we give you some money if you need it. That type. You see a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah. Not a lot of us working at FedEx, man. But yeah, I got fired from there. And then ended up getting picked up by another contract there. So I was right back in like 2 weeks later. But during that time, when we had any money, I started stealing stuff from the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would take guns. Guns, man. Yeti, you used to get $75 for a Yeti cooler, man.
Really?
Yeah, and then whenever I get paid, I would get the stuff back. But then, like, power tools, all that. And then eventually, I remember one day my dad picked me up, and I thought I was running a route. And, like, he was pissed, right? And Ed looked at me, and he was like, where's all my stuff at? I was like, you know, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? So he ended up taking, well, I told him, one thing about me, bro, I was honest, like as honest as I could be, you know what I mean? Like, I would tell you. So he took me up there to the pawn shop that I took him to, bro, and like caused this whole scene. And
Can't blame him.
no, yeah, I'm not mad at him for it. You know what I mean? Then he told me, he was like, your next paycheck, you better get all my stuff out, or you know what I'm saying? I would call the cops. I would do it. I was like, okay, cool. So I did it. Got all this stuff back. I think it went like 2 weeks, and then I took it all back again.
Really?
Yeah. I think the most messed up thing was I took this guitar that I didn't know where it was from. I just found it, but it belonged to my stepmom's father, who has passed away. That was a pretty bad thing to do. Once they found out, it was terrible.
Did you get it back?
No.
Oh, man.
Too late. Yeah, but once my dad found out that I took all the stuff again, man, he was like, you gotta go.
Yeah.
It was like 9:30 at night, random night. I had another buddy of mine that did drugs come pick me up with a bag, man. So I was staying in Dawson. And that didn't last long because he was working on his plantation or whatever. So he really wanted to have people out there anyway. So he called me one day. I was like, hey, man, you can't come back out here. So I didn't know what to do. I was working. I was driving. I was on route then. So I called. Oh, I didn't call then. I finished work and all that. And for some reason, when I got back, my boss said, hey, I need you to go help somebody else. I was like, I can't. I gotta figure something out, bro. You know what I mean? So I was driving around in my dad's truck, and he was like blowing me up. It was like 10 o'clock at this time. I was driving around the whole city, just driving around. I was like crying, you know what I mean? And then he kept blowing me up. It was like, can you like just bring my truck? You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. But I called my mom because I knew she would talk to Nana. But I told her then, like, that was it, bro. I was 22 years old. I was homeless. I didn't have anything, bro. I had that bag. That's all I had, man. I was finna take this truck back, and I didn't know what my next move was, bro. You know, Blake that we work with, my buddy Blake. The last night I stayed here, he let me stay with him.
Really?
Yeah. But I called my mom. I pulled over. I was on Dawson Road, and pulled over in the Big Lots parking lot. And then I called mom. I was like, "Hey, I've got to get out of here." You know what I mean?
You're good.
That was a tough conversation to have with your parents. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it's not like they were surprised. You know what I mean?
How did it go? Did she say, "Oh yeah"?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So she's like, "We'll figure it out. I don't know when or how or what we do, but we'll figure it out." And but as always, but you can't come here.
Yeah. That's what everyone said.
Yeah. So, which I don't blame them, man. You know what I'm saying? I told them before, I'm gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'd be high when I was saying it. You know what I mean?
I mean, at this point, they think you're gonna grab something.
Yeah. Probably look for somewhere just to eat and sleep and take something.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame them. It is what it is.
This episode is sponsored by Myler Management Group. Myler Management Group is a professional service that handles the day-to-day operations of real estate properties on behalf of property owners. They oversee tasks such as tenant sourcing, rent collection, property maintenance, and lease agreements. The group ensures properties are well maintained, tenants are satisfied, and the owner's investment is managed effectively. Their goal is to maximize property value while minimizing the stress and the workload for the owner.
Yeah, I called Blake. I was like, "Hey, man, I need a place to stay just for tonight." So he let me come over there. Ended up, he let me stay there. I talked to him that night. You know what I'm saying? Got up in the morning, went to church with him. This is when he was at this church right over here. He's like the youth pastor there or something. I don't know. But I was so sick in there, bro. I like called my mom and told her, I was like, can I come stay there for the day or something? You know what I'm saying?
How long had it been since you had anything?
I think I did something like 8 o'clock that night before. So it didn't take long for me, bro. I had to hit a pill every 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah, like I was doing a lot.
Did you
at least 4 or 5 a day.
Were you ever in a tight spot and do something random? Because I've seen like, only reason I ask is I know
like a random drug.
Yeah, I know it's not like new, but it's really, it's all over the internet right now. Guys like puffing aerosol cans and stuff like that.
I never did that. I never like did any like crazy drugs. I like never smoked crack or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think the worst that like I would, if I couldn't find pills, like sometimes you just couldn't find them, man. I would get heroin. I wouldn't care. If I couldn't find anything like that, I did this one time, and like they always say you can't just do it one time. I did it one time. I snorted like a little bit of meth one time.
Really?
Yeah, and it's an upper. It wasn't for me. I knew. I was like, I don't want that. And so I would just be dope sick until I could figure it out.
Really? Until you find anything.
Yeah, any opiate. I don't care if it was a Perk 10. Let me get 4 of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I called my mom. And I said at church, I was so dope sick, man. Wow. And like I said, I could talk anybody into anything.
You were that sick like 12 hours later?
Yeah, I was like sweating. My body hurt. Like it's like you feel like you had the flu is what it feels like.
Yeah,
just miserable. So I called my mom, asked her to come get me, and like can I just come stay for the day? You know what I mean? That's what I did. Ended up taking a handful of hydros out of the cabinet just so I could feel all right. And we all sat there and talked. And my mom had said, I already found Faith Farm I ended up going to. She already found it. She was like, I just got to get time to take you there. So
how did it work? Did she just call and be like, hey, my son needs to go here? Or
yeah, there was a guy here. I'm not going to go into too much detail with him. I don't know what he's doing now, but he went there first before.
Really?
And he would bring people
That's how
from
your
here to
mom
there.
found?
Yeah, that's how she heard about it. I guess one of her friends knew him or something. So she had called him to get my info, and they called me that next day.
Okay.
And
Is there like an application process?
yeah, sort of. You don't have to do it. You could just call them.
Cool.
And they pretty much accept anybody. There's like $100 processing fee or whatever, but you don't have to pay it either if you don't have it. It's just, I guess, like it's run off donations, so they get it from wherever they can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked to the guy on the phone, and 4 days later, I'm on the way to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, dude.
Really?
Yeah. They had let me stay there. It was crazy. When I was staying there, I would tell them, I would convince them to take me to go get a pill.
Really?
Yeah, because I was
4
like,
days.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be sick, man. I'm gonna be miserable. And I was like, I told him straight up, this is probably one of the worst things I ever said to my grandma. I was like, you can either give it to me and take me, or I'm still gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
I mean, it's true though.
Yeah. I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Which is pretty terrible. But I was so messed up at that point. So they would take me, man.
Are you supposed to detox before you get there?
Yeah, you're supposed to detox for sure. I didn't have time. I had to go, bro. So a lot of times if you're from far away, man, and you show up there, you're not detoxed, they'll send you to the detox there. They'll take you. They'll come pick you up.
It's like a facility.
Yeah. I just told them I was detoxed because I didn't know if they would let me in or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm detoxed. I'm good. Let's go. So I remember that it was a Saturday that I went on that Friday, man. I'd already quit my job at FedEx. I told my boss what was up. And my grandma took me to go get my last check. So I was supposed to pay the $100 to get in and like give my mom gas money. Dude, I took that whole check, convinced my grandma to let me go cash it, and then convinced her that I was just gonna go get one more pill. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I spent $600 right there that instant. Spent it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting high the whole day. I don't care. And then that same night, I said bye to everybody. My dad actually took me out to go eat, and like I said, I was so messed up, man. I had the dope boy pull up, tell my ass while I was there. That like I was on a phone call, you know what I'm saying? I had put money in a mailbox before I left for one of my homeboys to come get it and go get it and bring it back. You know what I mean? Because I was at the house, man. They would lock the doors and like take the key to sleep with them, bro. It was crazy. That's not funny. I don't know why I laughed, but it was crazy, man. But yeah, that was the worst dinner of my life, dude. Like I was sitting there, I just cried.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you just felt bad, or just all overwhelming emotions? What?
I think the worst thing was like I just felt like the biggest disappointment of a son, and that sucks. And like I mean, I'd already hurt them a lot. I don't know, man. I can't believe they still wanted to even take me to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But
Showed their love, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, man. After that, I spent my last like $20 on some weed. Got back to the house, packed my clothes, man, and the next morning we was out of there, dude. It's on the way to Fort Lauderdale. It was like an 8-hour drive, bro. But I remember I told my mom in the car. Like I said, I still had stuff left over. So I was smoking weed and snorting pills in the car, and my mom was just super upset.
Your mom was driving you?
Yeah. I was like, I mean, what are you going to do, not take me? You know what I'm saying? Let's just go. Like, it's bad to say, but this car would be a lot better if I can do this. So we went, man. We made it. I remember, one of the main things I remember is crazy. It's like a different world down there, right? It's like the temperature and everything. So it was cold here.
Yeah.
And I was in a hoodie and like sweatpants and all that. When I got there, man, it was so hot. I remember it being so hot. And she took me to this Mexican place to eat before I went. took me to the store because I used to smoke cigarettes. We could smoke cigarettes there. So I got a carton of Newports and then rolled into the office, dude. And it was, I don't know, man. It was, I didn't know what I felt at the time. I didn't know what to expect or what to think. But this guy named Nash, he was doing the intake that day. And I was always like, I grew up in church, man. 'Cause, you know, this is a faith-based program. So like I grew up in church. I never like didn't believe in God. I just thought God hated me. You know, a lot of us do that. And it's like, why is this happening to me? Yeah. But I did it. You know what I'm saying? It was my fault. But I was in there and I was like looking at this intake paper, bro. We're going all the stuff I brought, make sure I didn't bring anything in, all that. You know what I mean? And I remember I couldn't sign it, bro, because all my tears had dropped on it. And it was like, it was all messed up, the paper. And he just stopped and he was like, "Hey, man, can I pray for you?" And at that moment, I don't know, man, I just felt like everything's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like I had the weight of the world was on my shoulders and then it was gone. And I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm here. I was like, let's do it.
When you were signing it, did you think, I know you probably know the statistics better than me, but I know a lot of guys don't make it through rehab. Did you think you weren't going to make it out? Like when you were signing that paper, did you think this could be the last time you saw your family?
I mean, yeah, I mean, that crosses your mind. So it was the weekend, so I couldn't get taken into the dorms until Monday. So they had this room called hospitality. It was like 2 beds and like a shower in there. And you just had to sit in that room, man. So I thought everything possible for those 2 nights. Like it was miserable, bro.
Just you in your head.
Yeah. I was trying to read books and stuff, but I was detoxing too, so I was just miserable, bro.
How long does detox take?
It took me like almost 2 weeks fully. Like I didn't feel fine until like almost 2 weeks later.
But those first 2 nights were the worst.
Yeah, it sucked. I didn't sleep. I was up the whole time. And plus I was sober then, so I couldn't cover anything up. You know what I mean? A lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts. I didn't know what to expect. What was going to happen? Am I going to leave here or what? Because like at that time, I can honestly tell you, like, I could have met a stranger in there that's from there and been like, hey, we can leave, we can go do this. I probably would have done it. And then I'd have been homeless and stranded in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that felt like going through hell or purgatory or something, those 2 days. Were you completely alone?
No, there's one guy there named Kevin. There's actually a cool story about Kevin. So he was an older guy, whatever, and I was giving him cigarettes and stuff. And like, I guess because we were in there together, we kind of like hung out together for a little bit. He ended up getting kicked out because he had somehow got pills in there. But he ended up going to another location, right? So Faith Farm does this homecoming every year for all the alumni and the students that are there now. They go to the main campus and like have this cookout and like a softball tournament and all that. And it was like over a year later, I went to the homecoming, and Kevin was there. He had made it through the other one. He was like, I did my 30 days and went back to Point Beach.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's how I got there. So I ended up there.
So, how does I guess first, could you tell me a little bit about the statistics of rehab itself? Because I know when we talked before this, you said that like a small percentage of people actually make it through. Like,
right. I don't know the exact numbers, but I can give you an example. Our very first day in phase 1, the director of the place then, he was teaching that class. I think it was like 80-something people in there. And the very first thing he told us was, he told me how many people were in there. And he was like, almost all of you are not going to make it. So, for perspective, out of that 80, only 12 of us
Really?
made it all the way through. Yeah, that's it.
How long is the program?
10 months. 10 months to a year. If you come into a middle of a phase, before it switches, you have to do orientation for like the duration of the phase. So some people were there. Some people were already there for like, I don't know, 6-7 weeks and started the program with me at the same time. Yeah. It just depends on when you get there. But they say it's 10 months to a year. But during that time, though, for like the first 4 weeks of the program, you can still enter into a phase. So like we were getting people in through there. So it's actually more than end up coming and not making it. But it's a very low number. And I think out of all of us that have graduated, I know one of them, one of my really good friends, he made it, relapsed, went back, and he's doing fine now.
Good.
I know there's 3 more of us on top of him, so that's 4. I only know for a fact that 4 of them are alive.
From relapsing?
Yeah. I know a lot of them, not even just from my class, but just a lot of people I met down there in general. They died. I got a list on my phone. Well, I stopped making it because it grew, man. There was one point, like in a 4-day stretch, I lost 6 people that like I personally knew and talked to and hung out with.
All from relapsing?
Yeah. Two of my very best friends down there. One of them died literally right after we got off the phone one night. Then another one died on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. So the numbers aren't great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's tough because they have numbers for everything. They have numbers of people that make it, how many of them will come back, and how many of them will actually die. And then how like the smallest number of them all is the ones that don't ever come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the deciding factor? Do you know, or is there one? Like,
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. You see people in there that, I mean, they stay the whole time, but I guess it could be a mindset thing. They had nowhere else to go. You got free food. You know what I'm saying? You got somewhere to sleep and shower and all that, and you just stick it out for 10 months and don't really learn anything or don't change anything.
Keep your mindset the same.
Yeah. I got to a point, so after I graduated the program, I volunteered there for 6 months. Dude, I could have people that were under me, and I would know, like, this guy's not going to make it.
Man.
Or this one is. And you have some that you think, I know, surprise you, man. They just leave.
Why do you, like, if you know they're not going to make it, what is it? Is it the way they speak? Like, what is
their
it?
attitude and their ability to learn. Like, you have some people that come in there, man, and just just got there, want to tell people they should be doing this, doing that, or just quote the Bible nonstop. And I said, it doesn't mean anything, bro.
Yeah.
Why are you here? If you already know that, why are you here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You obviously haven't grasped why you're here.
Man, that's a way to look at it.
Yeah, it's
You can know all you want, but if it
Yeah.
hasn't actually taken root,
Right.
it doesn't do anything.
right. And you have people that really trying to dig in and do better and concentrate. You know what I mean? And come talk to me and ask me questions and all that. They're actually trying.
Yeah.
I didn't really start trying until like phase 2 though. For a while I was just coasting, you know what I mean? I couldn't really leave. I knew my mom was coming at some point. I was going to try to convince her to like take me back, you know what I'm saying, all that. But I was already in phase 2 before I decided, like, I wasn't really praying or journaling or none of that. I just decided to do it one day. So I said this prayer, and I'd ask God. I argued with God, I would say a lot. It's like, why am I still here? You know what I'm saying? Why did I have to go through all that? You know what I mean? I was still blaming him. But I prayed this very specific prayer one time, and I wrote it in my journal. And I was pretty much just telling him or asking him, I was like, show me that's like you are real and that you actually care about me. Dude, I was outside, so like they found me work on the compound, like you have to work there. But I was out there, and this randomly, this guy was just like, "Hey man, can I talk to you?" I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" I thought he was trying to like buy some furniture or something, you know what I mean? And but nah, he was just like, "So I don't know why, man. I want to tell you this, but you know, God loves you, man. He's not mad at you." It was literally the next morning after I said that prayer, dude. It was crazy because nothing like that's ever happened to me. I never had those conversations, never talked about it, nothing. And I was just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna, you know me, I'm competitive, bro. So part of that helped me, but I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be here. So I pretty much locked in, did what I was supposed to do. Tried to learn as much as I could about why we act the way we do. You know, you have to uncover your issues. Like we did this incredible exercise called houses. So once you make it to the final phase, you put your whole life on the board, man. Everything that you've ever been through, that's happened to you. And you go over your life with people that are left in your class, and they sit there and they pick you apart. But it's freeing though, because the people that really want to change, you know, they put everything, your deepest, darkest secrets, all up there, man. You got to get it out. I remember doing my houses, and when I got done, man, I just felt light, like I was floating. It was crazy. That was like, you know, like he breaks chains, like that's what it felt like, dude. Like it was crazy. Like I don't know. I felt a high that wasn't from drugs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, man, I did my 10 months. Met a lot of people came, a lot of people left, a lot of people came back. But after that, I stayed on. It's called an AS1. It's Advanced Student 1 year. What's what it used to mean, but they were doing it 6 months at a time then. So I stayed there, volunteered. They give you, so like it's a huge compound, man. They got like apartments on it and everything. So they give you an apartment with a roommate, and you go and work in one of the places they have to work in. And you're kind of like a leader there. Like every department has an AS1 there. So I had to use furniture place, which was all the people that didn't know how to act. You always put them in as is, and if that don't work, then you put them in the kitchen or maintenance. But I don't know, it was cool, man. It was cool. I got to see a lot of people grow. Got to be a part of their journey, you know. Yeah. It got to the point where like they would ask me to come be in their houses. I don't know, man. Like I'm grateful for it now. I ended up staying down there for 2 years. So like I did the full program, I did the full experience, and then I did the halfway house after, you know what I mean, and the work program after, and then I came back after pretty much the middle of COVID, really. They had this whole, like obviously they didn't want people going out and bringing it back, you know what I'm saying? We know what it was at the time. So they were like trying to quarantine us, and I was like, I got to work, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't. So they let us work, and eventually, like they shut Fort Lauderdale and South Florida down, but you couldn't do anything. I didn't have no choice but to not spend money.
Really?
Yeah. So I just had the money. I was like, I'm gonna come back. So they didn't want me to come back at first, which I get it, but I knew, you know what I'm saying? I knew I was fine.
Real quick, I'd love to know a little more about the houses thing. I do want to go through like how it's structured and the whole phases. Yeah. But what exactly is, like, you said you lay out your whole life. What do you mean exactly?
So you're in a room. There's a row of tables here. There's 2 rows of tables, and so there's this huge whiteboard on the wall. So they call it houses because you would break it off into sections of your life, right? And that'd be like house 1, house 2, house 3. I'm not sure where that model come from. That's just what we did.
Like infancy? Like what do you mean?
Your first memory.
Oh,
really?
Whatever
the first thing you can remember is, man. And like you don't put down like, I went to McDonald's today for the first time. You know what I'm saying? But like the first thing you can remember in anything significant that happened to you at any point.
Really?
Yeah. Like mainly like childhood traumas and all that stuff, and hardships and anything like that, man. You put them all out there. And then
what do you mean they tear? Like after you do that, you said they.
Oh, so when you walk through, so you go through everything on your board, and then the floor is open, and they ask you questions. They're like, okay, well, you did this here. let's go back to here, which is probably why you did this, because you did it again here, you know, stuff like that. You try to learn where your habits come from. Like the way we act, we all learn from somebody.
Yeah.
And whether we like to admit it or not, it's our parents. And they learn from somebody. And, you know, we all did the best we could with what we knew. But the idea there is to find it and break it. You know what I mean? Like, part of that program was to make us better men and prepare us to be good men and good husbands and good fathers and all that.
Yeah.
So it stopped with us. That's the idea of it.
Oh, it stops with us.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the idea of it.
Like generational curses.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They talk about there and everything. It helps you learn how to not deal with something. Like, I used to deal with this way, and now I don't.
Yeah.
Because that's going to cause this to happen. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So you want to stop. You want to find all the patterns you can and stop them.
That sounds powerful.
It's, bro, being in those rooms, that room is crazy.
How long does that take to go through every one?
We did it, we did one person each week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
I bet it takes forever to
yeah, it's a long session.
go a few hours.
Yeah.
But what's it like to spend 3 hours? Like, I'm sure you weren't the first guy. So first you're like, hey, well, I guarantee that's because of that. What's it like to sit there first and be like, no, you're thinking about your story and you're like, I guarantee you that I know exactly how I ended up where I am.
Yeah, you just,
and
you think that.
But what's like, were there similarities between everybody?
Yeah. A lot of us, majority of the ones that at least I saw and I witnessed, and this is crazy because, like, I don't know, the statistic they went over with us too was either some kind of like father issue, abandonment issue, or some kind of sexual trauma.
No way.
Yeah, that's the majority of them. But you sit there, man, and you watch. So you've been with these people already 8 or 9 months, you know, before you even get to this phase.
So you already know everybody pretty well.
You think.
Yeah.
And then they do their houses. And then you see that this person in a completely different way. Like, that guy might have pissed you off 2 months ago, but now you see why. You know, you learned it from there. You know what I mean? That's why this guy acts like this.
We did premarital counseling, and everyone's like, you've got to do it. We were like, I mean, I'm sure we're fine.
Yeah.
And then we did it, and they take you through this, they call it the temperament test. We did it with, I think it's called Cornerstone Counseling here in Albany.
Yeah.
And they walk you through this temperament test, and it breaks down like, you know, you have stuff like Enneagram and stuff where it's all based off of your trauma, but the temperament test is all about your, like, the way God wired you. Like, you're already designed this way, and there's a few different categories, and it breaks it all down. And it wasn't until I got the results back and they're like, well, Blake, you're this, and do you do this? I was like, yeah. Do you think like this? I'm like, yeah. And it wasn't until then where I was like, I'm not actually mad at Logan for things she's doing.
Right.
I'm just wired different.
Right.
Was that a similar experience?
Yeah, pretty much. So, like, that's when you watch somebody do their houses, you're like, okay, when he did this to me, it's not because he's a jerk. He's done this his whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he learned it from here, or this caused him to act like this. So a lot of it's like self-defense mechanisms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you
like
know,
the manipulation you talk about.
Right.
All self-survival kind of things.
Right. So, like, a certain trauma happens to somebody, they're going to respond this way so that doesn't happen again. And it doesn't matter what it takes or what it costs, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Do you start to work through that stuff after? Like, personally?
Yes. I mean, some people do. I knew I felt different after I got out. And a lot of that stuff I'd already discovered on my own. Like, I did a lot of work on my own there.
Yeah. And it's a biblical principle too. Like,
confess your sins.
Yeah. And there's freedom in your testimony, you know?
Right.
And there's breakthrough, and you can help other people.
Right. because there was a lot of people in there that went through almost the same kind of things, so it helps. You know what I mean? But yeah, houses was a crazy experience, but there was so much anticipation to it too, and then like it delivered. Like it was what it was, because you would see people that were ahead of you in the program already after they do their houses. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, where's he at? What's going on with him? Oh, he just did his houses today. And it's like, well, so what? You know what I mean? But until you do it, it's it was one of the most important days of my program there, for sure.
Would you say of your life?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, for sure. One of the most important days of my life. Absolutely. It was a very powerful thing to do and to feel and experience.
Would you say it was as powerful as the moment you signed that paper and were walking into the facility?
I never thought about that. I guess looking back, yeah. That's really the day that my life changed, you know, and then it changed again then.
Oh, it's almost the completion of it.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Once you do your houses, you're pretty much done. You're coasting to graduation.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is waiting everybody else through theirs.
So what was your experience like? Well, first, like how are the phases broken down? And what was your experience like going through each one of them? Because you said you really experienced like freedom in that second.
So phase 1, we're just figuring out pretty much like why we're there. A lot of like self-searching questions. And
are there like counseling sessions? Like how do they do that?
There was one counseling session,
or is it like
in the first phase? Yeah, it's like they're all the phases divided in classes. So like phase 1 was in the chapel, and phase 2 was in this classroom over here. Phase 3 was in the same room as houses. We would just move when they did houses. And then phase 4 was a lot of like classes on like how to be better men, like from every standpoint, and then houses. But the first phase, you're just trying to figure out, you know, why are you here? We're learning that, you know, we're doing these drugs or because we're filling a void, trying to figure out what that void is. A lot of self-searching work. Phase 2 was called, it's a book. It's like a workbook. It's called the Alpha Series. It was a lot about how we need to get to a point where like we allow God into our heart and allow him to work in us, and then we reciprocate that.
Yeah.
Phase 3 was a book. It was called A Power to Love. And that's just learning once we learn to love ourselves, you know, how do we love other people? Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, phase 4 was mainly houses. Obviously, it's a lot deeper. Each phase is 10 weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of homework and stuff to do, but
it's mostly like classroom kind of work.
Yeah. So you were in class. You would have chapel every morning. Well, wake up, lights on at 5, breakfast at 6, chapel at 7, and then you would do your classes until around 9, and then the farm opens up. Then you go to work.
Okay.
Phase 4, you did your classes until 12 when you started houses. Houses was pretty much 8 to 12.
What kind of jobs are there?
So the whole place is run on donations, right? So they have a used furniture store, which everything in there is donated. They have a new furniture store, which obviously they buy that stuff. Above it, it's like a Goodwill. It's called Brick Brack, but it's like a Goodwill. Everything's donated up there. Mm-hmm. And they had the kitchen and maintenance. So usually when you get there, you start in kitchen or maintenance. And then they had the daggum. I just slipped my mind. People that worked, like say somebody brought a fridge in and it didn't work. There was a shop that would work on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, appliance repair guys. Yeah. And then there was the trucks. Everybody wanted to be in the trucks. So if you were lucky enough to have a license still, because a lot of us didn't, which I had a license still, you would get put on their insurance, and you would get to leave the farm every day and drive the trucks, and go pick up furniture. So I spent a lot of time moving furniture up and down 34 condos. Like that's tough work, man. But and we'd bring it all back and we'd unload it and they'd sell it.
Really?
Yeah. So
was that is having a job, is that like, is it supposed to be busy work or what? What's their reasoning behind it?
Well,
Give you purpose?
I guess, but the main reason is it's a free program. So somebody has to work these jobs. That's how the farm runs.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You have almost unlimited manpower there. So if you're going to be here, you're going to work.
Yeah.
But I mean, it teaches you, good work ethic and all that. And depending on how you were and how you worked and stuff, would depend on where you worked at. Like if you had one of the crappy jobs or you get work somewhere cool.
Yeah.
So like people that were good students and all that, they got to be on the truck. They didn't have a license. They could be on the truck as navigators and helpers.
Really?
So yeah. Like I said, that was the job to have. You got to leave.
Yeah.
And you would get tips out there, man. So like you can get to go to McDonald's and stuff and not eat the food there. You know what I mean? But while you're there too, everybody gets put on food stamps. And then the kitchen gets donations from Trader Joe's, Target, Panera Bread every day.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's how we ate.
You ate pretty good, huh?
It was all right. You had the same thing for breakfast every day. So like I don't really eat eggs a lot anymore because I ate them every day. And we had chicken leg quarters all the time, so I don't really care to ever eat that again. They ruined it for me. But
I worked at a quail plantation in the kitchen, like a line cook kind of thing.
Yeah.
Basically like a glorified dishwasher, essentially.
Right.
And everyone always talks about eating quail. I can't eat quail anymore.
For real?
We had
I like
quail. We had quail 3 or 4 days a week for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, we had chicken leg quarters every Friday, bro. I don't want it. I don't care. I don't care who cooks it. I'm not eating it. So I'm done with it. And eggs. I'll eat eggs every now and then, man, but I don't want no eggs. Yeah, so you worked there. Everybody had to work. Pretty much earn your keep. We had a canteen, so like we would technically get paid with a canteen card. It was $7, so each punch was 50 cents. So you get 14 punches. But every morning it'd be open. You can go get coffee, and that's why we had like snacks and stuff in there. And it would open during lunch, and it would open at nighttime before everybody had to go up. So you can get like snacks, like little frozen burgers and stuff, and noodles and chips, and sodas, all that.
So what do you think makes the Faith Farm so successful? Like, I mean, I don't know how many people actually come out or anything like that, but it worked for you, and it seems to have worked for some of your friends as well. Like, what do you think
I think the main thing is, man, there's like NA and AA and these other programs, that are secular and all that. At the farm, man, we were taught about we were missing something, we're missing a void. We're really missing Jesus. A lot of AA and stuff talk about like your higher power and this and that.
Yeah.
And like, oh, your higher power could be a doorknob. I was like, that's fine if you want to do that, but it's not going to work long term.
Mm-hmm.
But I just accepting Jesus as my Savior and trying, like, I'm nowhere near perfect now at all. But now you could say like I have more of a conscience. I try to do more of what's right. I try to help people. If I can, I will. I try to do right from wrong more now. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but that's only because Jesus came in and changed me. I used to not care about anything. I didn't care if I was going to wake up the next morning. You know what I mean? Whatever. I didn't care. But you have to learn that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
And then that's the whole thing of a new creation. You know what I'm saying? Accept Jesus, now you're a new creation. So I believe in that wholeheartedly. The people that go there and actually receive that and actually change, that's why it works. That's why I'm not a fan of NA and AA. Like, it works for people, great. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it don't work. But when you're in those rooms, man, it starts out like with, I'm so-so and I'm an addict. I'm not saying that, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That
I'm a new creation.
Right. So why do I want to sit here and tell myself I'm addict all the time? You hear the, once addict, always addict. It's so negative to me. Mm-hmm. And I'll catch some slack for that. I don't care. I've said it before. I'll say it again. But being that new creation and that new person, you learn a lot of ways to live like that.
Mm-hmm. Live like
more like Jesus would. because through the program, there's a lot of forgiveness and a lot of love in that program,
Yeah.
which is super important. I feel like the hardest thing is forgiving yourself. But all that's easier with, like, I would journal, I read the Bible, I would pray. Like I pray a lot now still. That's I learned that there. I know that I can't ever turn my back on God because He never did on me. You know what I mean? And I know what Keaton looks like without that in my life. You know what I mean? So we're just not going to go back to that. And like I said, it works because of Jesus.
Do you think that's kind of what separates the guys that make it and don't?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can tell when somebody actually wants to change and actually wants to accept Jesus and wants, you don't even have to do anything. You just have to accept Him. You know what I'm saying? And you have to, well, obviously you have to mean it. But I started moving differently on my own. I did it without even thinking,
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Like, so we're not allowed to play cards and gamble there or whatever, but I did anyway. Once I decided to lock in and actually do this and go forward with it, man, I wouldn't want to be around it. I wouldn't want to be a part or near anything that could jeopardize what I had going on. Like I said before, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I was just doing it last week. You know what I mean? And you'll see people that, like I say, talk a big game, but they're the ones sitting out there gambling too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't do that, man.
And I guess it's not really about following rules exactly, but it's more about
what would Jesus do? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And one of my favorite things that we was taught there was a lot of people struggle with, like, why would Jesus want to help me? You know what I'm saying? I've done this and this, or I'm this bad. In the Bible, Jesus was with sinners. Why would He be with people that didn't need Him?
Yeah.
They didn't need Him. You know what I mean? We're exactly where we're supposed to be because He's where He's supposed to be.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It says that He came for the sick and not the
Right.
healthy.
Right.
He said the healthy aren't in need of a hospital.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, so it's hard to explain, man, because like I said, everybody's walk is different.
Mm-hmm.
Your walk's different from mine. I knew that I changed.
Yeah.
I knew that I did.
Was it that moment where that guy, after you prayed, that he said Jesus loves you? Was that really?
That's where it started, but I knew that I changed after the way I felt about my houses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was angry. I was mad at a lot of stuff that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I felt a lot of stuff was unfair. I was angry. Like I said, I thought God was a bully. But I didn't feel none of that no more. At that moment, like I said, I got everything off my chest. I was ready to be different. I wanted to change. I wanted it then. But I was changing the whole time.
Yeah.
But I think I accepted it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
The completion of
right.
walking through all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I decided to be an AS1 because I wanted to help people that I could.
Yeah. You ever just shake somebody, grab them by the shoulders, and shake them like, "Dude, wake up"?
I would do it in different ways.
Oh, well, yeah, not literally.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Literally, like, you know what I'm saying? We're all pretty much hardcore dudes. Throw in a few choice words and a couple analogies, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude, get it together, bro.
Yeah.
But that's how a lot of us had to be taught to. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're used to. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's what gets through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to save somebody in addiction, man, you have to do what you have to do. It's a tough thing to do. It's much easier to want it for somebody else before they want it. Mm-hmm. And that's so frustrating. Man, that used to really, sometimes it would piss me off, man, because I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much better your life could be. I was like, I'm still here as an AS1. I don't have anything still, but I'm a much happier person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited for my future finally. There were times before I went, I didn't care if I got caught stealing anything. I didn't care if I was going to get locked up. Like when I was in jail, I was like, whatever, I'm just chilling, I guess. You know what I mean? There were times when I would get high. I'm like, okay, is this it? You know what I'm saying? And it's such a terrible way to live. Like I said, it was depressing. You were just depressed. But by the end of my program, my houses, I was free, and I knew that I was different.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to go back out and live life.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, as an AS1, you were kind of in the same seat your family was.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. I never thought about it like that.
You were looking down at someone else just like they were looking at you, like, dude,
Right.
your life could be so much better than this.
Right. Yeah, I never thought about that. That's a good way to put it. Like I said, it's frustrating. But, I got all my relationships back. You know what I'm saying?
How hard was that?
My Nana was all right. That really wasn't hard. Like I said, she was like my best friend, man. She never gave up on me. I think my dad was the hardest one. There was obviously trust issues and all that. And I would come back, man. Well, when I came back, like we were trying to work together and do this and that before I went back to FedEx and all that or whatever. And we would have times where we would disagree and have these yelling matches. It's because, I know that I hurt him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I couldn't be mad at him for being mad at me. But I'm sitting over here like, dude, I'm different. You know what I'm saying? But I just got back. I know you don't see it, but I'm trying to tell you I'm different. Like, it was stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just takes time, man. All that takes time. They gave us an analogy there. It's like, so you walk 25,000 miles into the woods. You don't just get to jump out. You got to walk them back, man.
Wow.
So the healing process is a lot longer than the program itself. The program's not over once you graduate, bro. You got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
For sure, dude. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, dude.
This is the first time I actually shared it like this.
Really?
Yeah. Kind of nervous, but it's all good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's good just because, like, how many guys are looking at the Faith Farm or somewhere like it and they're like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
They're either in the same situation you are, where they're like, I'll go, but I'm taking pills the whole way there.
Yeah.
Or they're in the middle of detoxing and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. How many guys are in that same situation who could see your story and be like, maybe it is possible for me?
I'm sure there's plenty, but it has to get to a point where they're ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the hardest part is they got to find, they've got to have enough at some point. I'd had enough. And there's a difference between people there that have had enough and the people that are like court order, like have to be there. They don't care. They haven't had enough. They just have to be there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everybody has a breaking point, and it sucks. It's unfortunate, but you have to get there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was 22 years old and I was homeless. I didn't have anything but a bag of clothes, dude. And that sucks. Not knowing where you go. I didn't have no money. I didn't know I was going to eat. I didn't know we were going to stay that night. I didn't take a shower or what. Like, I'm not even going to go to work tomorrow. That sucks. But it can happen, man.
I guess we should very quickly say something about where you are now. So you came back, and you lived with your Nana?
No, I live with pretty much my godmother. Her name's Amanda Hall. She had went through the same thing before me, though.
Yeah.
So when I came back, her and her husband and her family let me stay there for 6 months. And then, which I'm very grateful for. They're great people. She's very active in the recovery community here.
Awesome.
I was there for about 6 months. Like I said, then I got my job back at FedEx. Then I got an apartment. Then left FedEx, came to Centos. I've been at Centos ever since, man. But life to me is great, man. Like I'm not struggling. I get to play a ton of golf. I got a dog that I love. You know what I'm saying? I get to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about where I'm gonna eat or sleep or none of that. All my bills are paid. You know what I mean? I don't really want for nothing.
Yeah.
All my relationships with my families are good. I've been fortunate enough to be able to help people get down there and see them change and live better lives, man.
Yeah.
And it's great. I wouldn't be here if I never would have went there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot of people that are in similar situation to you now. Not that they've come out of rehab, but they're just,
right.
They're working a job and they've got a house and everything, but I think it's really easy for people to become ungrateful when they haven't walked through a journey like yours or seen
Right.
it, you know?
Right.
If you see something like that firsthand, or for me, it was going to India where I was seeing the way people, you know, their everyday life,
Yeah.
literally sheets on sticks on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, or people everywhere, but you know what I mean? And it's like, this is their house.
Yeah. It's
And
tough.
people are here that this guy goes to the bathroom next to the street and busy dirt road. And
Yeah.
you're over here complaining because,
Wi-Fi's out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mediacom sucks. You know what I mean?
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, eggs are $7.
Right.
Oh, at least you paid it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Yeah. It's tough if you've never experienced it. Like, I'm not trying to say I went through the worst time ever.
Yeah.
But it was hard. It was tough. It sucked. But I'm now at a point where I'm grateful for it. I know where I don't want to ever be back again. And I've learned how to deal with life without trying to cope. You know what I mean?
Does that drive you to stay successful, or I don't know, in church, in a job? Like, is that your driving factor now?
It does. So like I don't go to church a lot, but I know that I should. Like, I feel convicted about it. I want to. I started going to Grace City now. You know, so I've never had like that home church experience. You know what I mean? I never had it. So
Except Faith Farm, I guess.
yeah, pretty much. But it definitely. I just try to be now, man. I just try to be the best man I can, and I fall all the time. But you know, if I pick myself up from that, then I can do it here again. I'll be fine. You know what I mean? You know, when times get hard or something bad happens to me, you know, I don't have to go and find drugs and none of that. You know, what I do now, I pray. I just pray. I pray and I wait because God never let me down then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not going to now. That's something that I know.
It's powerful.
Yeah. So that was it, man.
It's a good place to end it right there.
Yeah.